Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Dayna with From Fertility to Delivery. Today I wanted to talk about the menstrual cycle, and also I'll talk a little bit about birth control as well. The menstrual cycle, obviously it's a blessing, but we can also see it as a curse sometimes, because every month we're anticipating it not to come back and to take and incorporate the sperm and actually create the baby. And, when that happens, that will be divine timing. But when it doesn't happen, it's kind of frustrating. It's frustrating to see your menses coming back in every month and not having a baby instead, or a fetus, or, what we're looking, a bun in the oven, basically. So how do we move through that? How do we navigate that and make it back into a blessing and not a curse? We have to see it for what it really is. It is our cycle. And cycles are supposed to be up and down with a peak and a trough and a peak and a trough. And it's just like the seasons moving us through one step to the next step to the next step in our lives. So when we get through a whole cycle and we have had an unsuccessful month necessarily from a fertility conception standpoint, the cycle is able to continue, and you get to the next cycle and the next cycle. So instead of seeing it as, depressing and something that is maybe even a failure, see it as a new beginning. And as your menses come through you and they purge out of you, bless them. Bless them for being there. Bless them for being a part of your lives, and bless them for the cycle that they are. When you eat food or you drink water, that has to cycle through you as well. So your beautiful eggs that you have inside of you in your ovaries and your ova, the actual ova themselves, consider them as a blessing and start to rework and to change the way you see your menstrual cycle. Because the actual cycle and the egg itself, yes, it did have to purge 1 month, but there's going to come a time. And hopefully it is, soon. For a lot of people, we always want it to be soon, but it is divine timing. But there is going to come a time when you won't have it, and they will stop for a pretty long period of time. And instead you will have that baby growing inside of you that you so deeply desire. And that is that's a big part of it. Loving yourself, loving the process, even though it could take a long time. The other part I wanted to talk about was birth control. Now, it's pretty obvious that if you are looking to start a family and starting to procreate and baby make, you are stopping the birth control. So that's pretty obvious. It's something that I don't even really have to bring up here. But what I wanted to talk about with birth control is that you really want to stop right when you have the inkling that you may want to start a family. So I stopped birth control before I was even married with my husband, because I just knew I had to give myself some time to breathe. And the reason I had to give myself time to breathe is because I went on birth control not because I was active in any capacity. I wasn't active actually at all. I was the big V word. I was a virgin at the time. But my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she was going through a mastectomy, reconstructive surgery. It was a really awkward time in my life. I believe I was a sophomore in college, and I didn't have my period for 144 days. Now, after I look on it, I was like, ooh, that was actually nice not to have to deal with it back then, when you're, so active with, sports and college and all of those things. But it's also kind of frustrating because I needed my cycle from what we are grown to know in society. We want that cycle. It's a part of flushing out what no longer serves us and beginning anew. But to not have your cycle for 144 days because of stress, that was really frustrating. So when I visited my healthcare practitioner, my OBGYN, they did recommend that I go on the pill. And the pill actually started my my cycle after 144 days of not having it. And for me, it was just giving me that back to myself. And I stayed on it for many, 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 many years. And I knew that, but it wasn't, I knew it wasn't, it just didn't feel good. It felt like nails on a chalkboard some days. It was really off, and I knew I was putting something into my body that it didn't belong. But it served its purpose. And many months before I realized that, that I was going to be able to start a family later in my life, in my late 30s, I did go off the pill, and it felt amazing to go off of it. So think about that. And again, I am, as a disclaimer, I'm not a healthcare professional, so I'm not telling you to go off. You have to talk with your healthcare provider and get the information that you need, specific information designed for your health. But know that if it's something that you're thinking about, and it's either around the corner or really far away down the road, think about the adjustment time that you need getting off of any medication that you are on in order to move to that next level of family planning. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. And everything is still working beautifully in my prep for the classes, and also, just remind you that I do have my Blissborn hypnobirthing class. It's all set up, and it's online, so it's on www.fromfertilitytodelivery.com, and you can read up on it. Please feel free to email me about any questions about the class, about any questions about my services, and my email address, fromfertilitytodelivery@gmail.com. And you can also direct message me as well. I do prefer email because I don't want to get it stuck where I don't see it for a couple weeks, because I just haven't checked that particular area of the DM, the direct message. So just a heads up. Thank you so much for being here. I send you lots of love and guidance and support. And we're doing this together. We're creating the next generation together, and we're doing it with beautiful love and grace. Have a wonderful, blessed day, and many blessings to you. Thank you for being here.